Hey, welcome back to Retrospect. Today's video is gouache painting techniques. I'll be showing you how I mix my colors and how I use my flooding technique to get nice smooth surfaces in my paint. So firstly, I will start by mixing some water and some paint into one of these little cups here. I'll have the supplies I use listed in the information box below. And it's important to make sure that you have a nice balance of water and paint in your mixture because you can use acrylic gouache straight from the tube, but I personally never do it. I always add a bit of water to increase the flow and make it not as chunky or acrylic-like in texture, if that makes any sense. So right now I'm just working on getting the right shade of this yellowy green that I'm after, so I'll be adding in paint and then adding a bit of water and mixing until I'm happy. I also make sure to always swatch my colors on a sheet of paper just so I can get a sense of how they'll look when they're dry. And now I'm just adding in a bit more water from my water pot. I think the consistency is a little thick so far. So once you mix that up, it should be kind of a saucy texture. Like it should flow like this. So you should be able to part it and it should come back in on itself. So you can see it's pretty liquidy right here. That's a good consistency going forward. Once I start to paint, I will actually dilute it even further. But for now, this is where I want it to be. So I like to use the top of my lid for my actual little palette, and I'll add in some water and then take some of that paint mixture and I'll mix them around. The paint should be very fluid, but it shouldn't be translucent or else it will go on your canvas or your wood panel translucent as well, and that's not what I'm after in this technique. So you can see my brush is nice and loaded up with color. I like to sort of smoosh it down to disperse some of that heavy amount of paint from the well of the brush. And then I'll slowly start to make almost circular blending motions, so I don't really want any brush strokes to show when I'm applying this. I want it all to be blended and even. So if you can see it's getting a little streaky there, I'll start to add in more paint and spread it around. I'll even go in and outline any specific areas with a drier brush just so that the wet paint doesn't overlap where it shouldn't. I always make sure to go up to the edges of the tape just so that it covers everything and I don't get any little corners or whatever left out. So you can see it's sort of going on like icing on a cookie. It's very liquidy and smooth, and I'm trying to sort of keep the surface of the paint even. It will settle down and level down as it dries, but it's important to make sure that it's not too chunky looking or else you will get ridges in your paint. So that's pretty good. I've smoothed out the bubbles and you can see how it looks after maybe 5 minutes. It's got a nice sheen. It's starting to dry a little bit in that one area, and it looks like it will dry to a nice even consistency. So here it is after it's dry. I noticed there's a little hair there, but I eventually got rid of that and painted over it. And I'm only pulling up the tape on this one edge just because I need to keep that tape there for the next square. You can see it bled a little bit in that corner, and that's fine. I'll just use an X-Acto knife to clean it up. But you can see here all the nice edges and seams that it gets when you tape it off like that and do the flooding technique. That's something that I personally really like, and especially in this kind of work, I find it's really visually effective for me. Anyways, I hope this video helped you understand my flooding technique a little better. I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye!